Hey everybody, welcome to the Podriplegics podcast, brought to you by Arizona Spinal Cord Injury Association. That's azspinal.org. I am Shawn Dallas Hall. I am here with Don Price, Eric Kenning, and we are three guys with 100 plus years combined of life experience with living with disabilities. And no, we are not medical professionals. I will state that one more time just in case you didn't hear it. We are not medical professionals, so if you are having some type of actual emergency medical issue, please contact your doctor, 911, any of those things. Not us, all right? Take what we say with a grain of salt. Also, parental discretion is advised. I have a terrible mouth. I apologize everybody ahead of time. And and please, no matter what happens, don't sue me or Don.
Yeah.
Send that over to Eric.
What? No, don't sue me either.
Send that over to Eric.
He's
That's
Mr.
at
Moneybags.
azspinal.org again.
Really?
Eric.
Eric.
Anyways, hey guys, housekeeping items. We got a few of them to do. Eric's going to do a few news items, and then we'll get into the show. Eric, go ahead.
Just wanted to let you know, we got a couple things. One thing that happens with the organization, we have a lot of things that rotate. We do throughout the year, like bingo, hiking in nature. We do wheelchair skills courses. We have a softball game coming up at the end of March. And then we have a big conference that's coming up March 6th. Now, this conference is great because there's a ton of vendors there, and we have a lot of information that gets disseminated, especially if you've never done this conference and you have, any sort of disability or a caregiver, family member of a caregiver. We'd love to see you there. There's just, you'll find something there, I guarantee you.
And if you are there, you're going to see Mr. Eric Kenning.
Yep.
Probably Mr. Don Price.
I'll be there. Where does it take place? I believe it's Willow Springs Conference Center. Yeah, in Phoenix.
I believe it is. I believe
That's in
is
Phoenix,
it.
Arizona, by the way.
It is.
Everybody
Right.
who's listening, maybe not from Arizona. Maybe you're abroad. I don't know. It's
Well,
in Phoenix,
now that's
Arizona,
not the correct
located
term.
in the
I think
United
they
States.
want to be women. I think it's
Oh.
women, not abroad.
Ooh. Where's that? Beep, boop, boop. Well, we need that one.
Yeah, I'm going to be sampling that. Don't worry about it.
Sample that.
If you want to find out more information or register for any of this stuff, just go to azspinal.org.
azspinal.org. All right, fellas. Let's get into it. I'll tell you what. We had our first show last time. Got it posted.
Our
had
very
some
first
listens.
inaugural show. And, I put it out to all my friends and family, and a lot of people listened. And I have our first super fan, which is my mom.
Hey, now.
Yeah, hi, Mom. I love you.
My mom is not a super fan because I said the F word. She counted 9 times.
Uh-oh.
9 times. Oh, dang.
So she said she's not going to maybe become a super fan until I curb my enthusiasm.
We may have to have a swear jar here.
Yeah, we're going to have a jar.
But so what was the feedback you guys got? Clearly we know we're just beginning and we're amateurs. Pretty
Speak
much.
for yourself.
Well, yeah, I know you have some broadcasting experience. But as far as podcasting goes, you're with two guys that have never done this before, and so I'm just curious, what you guys heard back?
I heard very positive things. I heard that people really enjoyed the fact that we split it into segments and we were answering some actual people's questions. I heard that was good. I know a lot of people said they really enjoy when we give our own personal stories and our own quips of our lives, of things that happened.
By the way, if you do want to leave a comment, all of our podcasts are going to YouTube as well. Now, we would like you to go to Spotify, okay, to listen to us. But if you would like to leave a comment, go to YouTube and just type in Podriplegics. It'll pull us up.
Yeah, I think I missed that at the beginning, didn't I? So much for all that experience.
That's what I'm here for, man.
There we go.
Yeah, so
I'm
check
the
us out
backup.
on YouTube, Spotify, soon to be Apple, iTunes, also azspinal.org/podcast. Please subscribe, leave a comment, any of those things. It helps us help you, and that's what we are here to do.
Yep.
So
like us, do the notification.
Yep.
Any of that stuff that you can do with YouTube, do it.
And also leave questions for us.
Absolutely.
We'll get to them. We will see them all. We will read them all, and we will try to get to as many as we can.
And I think if you search Podriplegic, it might come up. You want to spell that, Shawn?
I told you I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah, Podriplegic, Podriplegic.
Podriplegic. That's how I spell.
You got it. So yeah, search that and leave us comments.
Or it could be Podriplegic.
Here we go.
Whatever works.
Potato, tomato, my friend. But yeah, I thought overwhelmingly most people enjoyed our first show, even though it was our first show, and we understand that, and we strive to get better every time we're on here, and we will strive to help everybody out and answer as many of those questions as we can get to.
Amen. Absolutely, we're going to do it.
Yeah. Any else? What about you?
I had some friends when they recognized I was talking about events that happened in my life. They were just like, "Oh yeah, I remember that.
I remember being there."
Yeah. So I got some really good kudos based on that, and I'm getting some good feedback. I'm still getting the word out to my family, and so they're going to be listening, and so I haven't heard a whole lot back from them. But a couple of my friends, they really liked it a lot. They thought it was really cool. They thought it was really positive. To tell you the truth, they really think it's what we're doing is we're actually getting out some information that's not always readily available.
Absolutely, especially to people who may not be out in the public, or out in places like Ability 360 or things of the sort on a daily basis or weekly or even monthly basis, who don't necessarily have interaction with other people who may have the same disability as them, or may have something, maybe more like them. Maybe they feel isolated in some way. Hopefully we can help them.
Yeah, and I will underscore what you guys just said. The people that reported back to me loved the personal stuff. My sister said the humor was great. She just loved when we were, jabbing at each other a little bit. And then the other thing, request for more Nina. So
Nina's here too.
Hi, everybody.
Nina.
Hi
we
there.
need her.
So Nina's an RN, by the way. I think that was one thing too that we forgot to say in the beginning. That I forgot to say. Sorry, I roped everybody in on that one. I wanted you all to fail with me.
I'm curious. I'm curious if Nina heard anything, or did you listen to the show? What do you think?
I get to hear it live, so I love listening to your guys' show, and I think it's really great. Yeah.
So Nina's here. She's an RN, so she's going to help us answer some of the questions or a few things that we're going to talk about today as well. So maybe we want to get right into that. You want to get into that?
Sounds good. Yeah.
So today, I was asked by several people to talk a little bit about pressure sores, pressure ulcers, pressure injuries, I believe they're called now. Like maybe if we had them, what we did to get rid of them, or what we do in our daily lives to avoid getting pressure ulcers. Pressure ulcer is a breakdown of the skin in mostly bony areas or soft tissue areas of the body that you leave pressure on too long, and they start to form from the inside out. Correct, Nina? Am I right on that one?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so they can become very, very bad. They can lead to multiple different medical problems.
Complications, infections, sepsis, like you were saying.
Leave you stuck in your bed for years, right? I mean.
Oh yeah, I know people that have to go and get a skin flap surgery, and
surgeries.
They're in their bed, laying on their belly for extended periods of time.
Yeah.
For me, I notice when I get blackheads, they turn into boils, and from boils they go to pressure sores.
You've been dying to talk about this, so you might as well get it.
I have.
You've been dying.
Oh my God.
You've been dying to talk about popping pimples, so let's get into it, I guess.
Boy, my wife, she goes after them. She checks those suckers. She's like, let me look at your butt.
There's a visual.
Again, parental discretion advised. We are not medical professionals, obviously. He's talking about butt pimples.
Yep. But I tell you what, it really helps, to make sure someone can actually make sure that, something's not developing. I mean, I work here at the Spinal Cord Injury Association, and I got to tell you, I've seen clients die from this. That's how serious it is, people. I mean, it just breaks my heart to see someone die from a pressure sore.
Right. Well, if you think about it, we are a chapter of the Christopher Reeve Foundation, right?
Yeah.
Christopher Reeve, famous actor. A lot of younger people don't know who he is, but
Superman.
Superman. He was in the Superman movie, first one, as Superman, and he was injured in
Horse riding.
middle of 80s.
Right.
He was thrown from a horse, broke his neck, became a high-level quadriplegic, and he was out there. He had all the money you could have to get it rehab and care, and still he ended up with a very, very serious decubitus. And from what I heard, that was the cause of his death. He ended up with an infection. He wouldn't stay down, and it caused sepsis and shut everything down. So if you think about somebody that has everything you could possibly have going for you and still dying of a pressure injury, that shows how dangerous they are.
They're very dangerous, extremely. I mean,
Yep.
I know I had them. I've had them. When I came out of the hospital from my very first, after my accident, was when I had the most that I had 5 of them at one time.
Oh, my goodness.
So I had them on both of the outside of my ankles, both of my heels, the back of my heels, and then one on my coccyx, which is right there on your tailbone.
That's pretty common with the
Very
coccyx.
common. And the heels are very common.
Yeah.
too.
Wait, you came out of rehab with that?
Mm-hmm.
See, that to me is
Uncalled for.
inexcusable.
Inexcusable.
I don't see how you can, of any places to get a decube in a hospital. I mean, a rehab hospital especially.
Right, and I tell you, that's probably where most people
It is.
even get them. You know, I mean, from my experience, most of the people I've talked to, that's where they get them from being in a bed in a hospital for, you say you go in for a bladder infection that's really bad, that got really bad, and you need IV antibiotics. You got to be there for at least 3 to 7 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you're in bed 3 to 7 days. If you're not used to that situation, right, you're not moving and rolling as much as possible. If you don't stay on top of nurses to come in and move and roll you, then boom, pressure sores can form within 2-3 hours. You don't need a whole day of sitting in one bad spot.
Yeah.
That rattling you hear is my head shaking in disgust because I really don't think that should ever happen in a hospital setting.
I agree with you, but it does.
That's malpractice.
It definitely does. And so, for me, when I had those, they stayed for quite some time. And I still have the scars. I still have all the scars, all 5 scars from those. And I think that I learned how to, I guess, what do you want to call it, reduce pressure or do pressure reliefs on my own. I didn't really. They teach you to lean your chair if your chair tilts or reclines, I guess, or they teach you to do that. They say every 15 or 30 minutes to do that, right? But for me, that didn't really do it. For me, I'm more of a leaner, right? I'd rather lean and push off my armrest or push up off both my elbows.
I do the same thing.
Right?
Yeah.
Tilt my chair back a little bit. And also when I'm sleeping. I have different positioning for when I sleep. So when I sleep, I use 7 pillows.
Yep.
I have a total of 7 pillows that I use for my whole sleep setup. You know what I mean? But
Wow.
it's for a reason because I don't want those. You don't want to get them because if you do, you're in trouble for sure. What do you guys do for setups? Or for pressure reliefs or.
For me, I move around. I try not to stay in one spot. That's, even if I play a video game, I have to move, and as long as I keep moving around, shifting from side to side, instead of favoring one specific position, I have the luxury of being able to transfer on my own. So I'll transfer to other chairs and give my butt a different topicology to work with.
Question for you, Eric. Do you have sensation down there?
Partial paralysis. So I do have some sensation. It comes and goes. Sometimes I'll feel, sometimes I'll get real sensitive, other times it'll... In fact, my wife will pull my leg hairs once in a while, on my leg, and I'll go, oh, and she goes, you can't feel that, and I go, well, it should hurt. So we play around with that because it's like a puzzle with my leg. I mean, really, there's certain spots I can feel, certain spots I can't, but it's hard to identify where that is.
That's kind of the same way with me. I don't know about you, but what about you, Don? Do you have any feeling?
No, I don't have any feeling below my belly button, pretty much.
So you're an extreme candidate of pressure ulcers. Pressure ulcers are, people who can't have zero feeling are more prone to receiving those.
I am, and actually I've been very lucky over my 37 years. I haven't had a serious decubitus or pressure injury, and I mean, part of that is luck. Part of it is taking care of myself. Like Eric said, having someone check your skin every night. And then also, having the right cushion.
And big deal
that's
too.
a big deal. Yeah, you
difference.
Have to figure out what works for you.
Yeah, DMEs are different, are a big deal.
What do you use? I have a Roho.
I use a Roho. I use a Roho with the
Quattro or
Quattro.
Quattro?
The Quattro thing where you can switch between where you let the air move with you, or you can lock the air in to your specific position.
Mine, I don't think mine's a Roho. I forgot what the name is. It is, but it's a saddle cushion. It's a foam saddle cushion.
Custom
Does
made
it have a
for
hole?
you?
Yeah.
Does it have a hole in the middle?
It's got a dip, but not a complete hole. It's made so that I can have better balance. So it hits at my iliacs on the side, so it gives me better stability when I'm wheeling around.
So they have those too, the ones that have the actual hole where the coccyx is, right? So they have it puts the pressure more on your butt, on your thighs.
Oh, that's cool.
Than it does. Your coccyx is floating more or less, right? They have those. You can talk to really any doctor or durable medical equipment company about those things. I don't know, what as far as all of it getting paid for. I guess that's a whole nother ball of wax.
Right.
I don't know what Medicaid or Medicare covers on that end.
By the way, as a side note, Arizona Spinal Cord Injury gets donations all the time.
There you go.
So you never know. We get. It's not uncommon to get wheelchairs donated, power chairs donated, shower chairs, slide boards, stuff like that. No, we don't always have it, but we do have a storage locker. So give us a call or look at our website. Our phone number's on there too.
Yeah, send Eric a message. By the way, just for fun, just do it.
Send
Eric a message
if you gotta. The phone number is 602-507-4209.
I just want to say something about cushions again.
Yeah.
A lot of times people say their insurance will deny them a cushion. Simple way around that is appeal it for sure. And then just point out the difference between a $500 cushion and $10,000 or $100,000 stay in the hospital for a pressure injury. And they will say, how fast can I get this cushion to you? Because, prevention is everything.
Yeah, and another thing that adds to those is diet. I think diet plays a huge part. People who smoke too, lack of circulation, definitely if you're in a chair, stop smoking. It's terrible for both your bladder and your circulation through your body.
Unless you're smoking hot, then come on.
Or if you're smoking something else, right? But
that's another show.
Again, we're not doctors, and please don't sue us.
Why are you wearing the stethoscope? Shh. All right, never mind.
That's for something else, Don.
All right,
that's for something else.
Get to that later.
But diet's a huge thing. I think diet's a huge thing for almost about everything in my life. I know that as far as with skin problems and all that stuff, they definitely your skin holds up a lot. My skin holds up a lot better when I'm eating well, when I'm sleeping well, when I'm hydrated, when I'm all those kind of things. I'm moving around more, and I'm not sleeping as much. Those kind of things. That's a good way to avoid it as well.
Yeah, I've definitely found that even just changing my diet, I tell you what, I just changed one thing in my diet, and that was eat oatmeal in the morning, and I lost weight. And I can already tell you, it's better. Like my body feels better. I can move better. Everything feels better.
Well, I do know that for people that have a pressure injury, they recommend high protein diets. because protein is what's going to help you heal up that sore.
Are we talking
So-
raw eggs?
Any kind of protein you can
Think
get. And,
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
peanut butter,
And
beef
then
jerky, whatever you got to do.
Whatever you think Arnold would eat.
Wait,
yeah,
wait, peanut butter and beef jerky is one? I mean,
Yeah,
that
put
would
a-
be interesting.
Hard-boiled eggs, whatever. No, but
I agree.
that is very important. If you're
It is.
healing up, you need to do the high protein.
I just heard a recipe where you cook steak and you put peanut butter on the steak. I heard it tastes amazing.
You try it first, bud.
Yeah, let us know.
Guys, come on now.
Smooth or crunchy?
I'm going to try smooth to start with and see where it goes.
All right. Well, we can move on to a little bit of like what to do if you have a pressure ulcer.
Well, the first thing is to get off of it. I mean, that's number one with a star.
With a bullet.
With a bullet, get off of it, stay off of it as long as you can. And, that's hard to do because we all go stir crazy laying in bed. I know
Absolutely.
it's so hard to do. And sometimes if it gets bad, you have to stay in bed for an extended period of time.
Yeah, cleaning it is a major thing. I would say have a professional do that, right, Nina? I mean, you could maybe speak in. How would you go about as an RN cleaning a, let's say, open pressure ulcer?
Yeah, absolutely. With any pressure ulcers, you're going to want to get it treated as soon as you see it. You're going to want to get it looked at. Sepsis is one of the biggest things, so you might have to get on antibiotics. But cleaning it, there's a bunch of different options. Sometimes they say just soap and water. There's some medicated soaps that you can use for it. Sometimes they might have a kind of a debrider to make sure that you don't start getting necrotic tissue in there, just depending on how bad the sore is. So if it does get bad enough, then you do need to get a medical professional to treat it.
What are some warning signs maybe in your experience that you've seen that maybe people could see, okay, before they even get one?
Just a little bit of pink areas. If you touch it and it turns white, then that's not a good sign. That's what we call blanchable or non-blanchable. So little things like that, even if it's not open yet, like just a little bit of pink soreness in that area or just irritation, you're already thinking there. You're already going there.
Yeah, that would be a stage 1 injury, yeah.
Stage 1 all the way to stage 4.
Stage 2 looks a little bit like a blister. It has that little raised area, maybe a little sticky, right? Yeah,
The skin's a little bit fragile over the top. It might not be open yet, but you can tell it's getting worse from just that original pink rubbing or, just from sitting on that area.
Hey, guys, I keep forgetting the name, but what is that when your body reacts and you get...
Autonomic dysreflexia.
Thank you. I keep forgetting that, and I should know it, but that is a result. That could be a warning sign.
Oh, absolutely. That's my warning sign.
Okay.
I use it all the time. So that's what I use for prevention because I have spared feeling throughout my whole body. It's more of like a nerve pain type of situation, and I have what they call spared sacral something, spared sacral feeling or spared sacral something. So I have really bad nerve pain right on my coccyx and my sacral, which is a pretty funny joke, right? I sit all day. Why not make it hurt, right? Dumbasses.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait.
God has a great sense of humor.
So, yeah. So what I do is when I'm sitting there and I start feeling like I can feel a little bit of autonomic dysreflexia symptoms come on, I start getting a little warm or something of the sort, then I know, oh, man, I got to move, right? Or I start having spasms. A lot of people can use their spasms or spasticity to help them as a warning sign as well.
I actually have heard of a gentleman that because his heels were placed at a certain elevation, or it was like his foot was off of his plate, he got autonomic dysreflexia. It threw him into a heart attack. Yeah.
Stroke.
Yeah, he stroked out.
Yeah. Those are big deals. Those are all things that you should that you should be checking too. The way your foot's sitting, how if you wear shoes, right? Like how are your shoes put on? Are your shoes big enough? Are they too small? Are they too tight? Did somebody tie them too tight? Did they put them on the wrong foot? Did somebody leave the paper in them? Because this happened to me before. I got a brand new pair of shoes. Somebody left the paper in the front of it, shoved my foot in there.
Oh, no.
And all day long, I'm spasming, going, geez, I'm sweating everywhere. I feel like crap. Couldn't figure anything out. Finally, a nurse, we were at the doctor, and the nurse takes off my shoe and goes, well, it could be this.
Oh, my God.
Talk about.
Yeah. So for somebody that's maybe a new injury that doesn't know much about autonomic dysreflexia, it's your body's response to noxious stimulus. It can cause super high blood pressure. It can happen to anyone with a T6 or above injury. And the symptoms are like a pounding headache, usually excessive sweating.
Yep.
I don't know. That's my symptom.
I get sweat. I get the sweats. I get a headache. I get spasm. Like my spasticity level goes way up.
Yep.
And what's the first thing you check when that happens?
Bladder and bowel. I always go bladder first.
Yeah.
Then bowels, and then or I try to move around. I guess before because. For some of us, bowel programs are very difficult. You know, have to be transferred out of this chair into a different chair and then moved over to, so that could be a process. And if it's unsuccessful, right, then now you're another 20 minutes into an AD episode when sometimes you could have fixed it by checking your foot or just moving your pressure or something else around. So I try to check my bladder. I try to move around. See if it's something on my butt or something on my feet or my heels or something of the sort. If it's none of those, then I go to bowel.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I really want to stress to everyone is you have to be your own advocate. Okay, just because a person, emergency personnel or doctors or nurses, not everyone's trained with all the knowledge. I mean, that's just not how it works. So if you're willing to be your own advocate, you will save yourself time, really get them to listen to what is going on in your life. And especially, if you're feeling something and they're not listening, make sure to just let them know, hey, have you heard of autonomic dysreflexia? Do you know what this is about? Do you know how serious this is?
I think also, too, I carry a card in my wallet. It is an autonomic dysreflexia card.
Yeah.
That when you go, so if you're having a severe AD episode and you do need to go to an emergency room of some sort, I have a card that I can hand to the nurses that pretty much tells them everything that you need to know about it and the first ways to treat it or look at. That way you don't have to even, necessarily worry about it. Because at that point, sometimes it's very difficult to express what you're feeling or what you're trying to get done because panic sets in, anxiety, all that stuff comes in with a heavy AD episode. So they also have...
we have handouts here, too.
And you can find them online, too. I'm sure at Mayo
Laminated cards.
Christopher Reeves, .org, all the stuff like that. And another thing that they use is what they use for heart attacks. What's that stuff? Nitro. So I carry nitro paste everywhere I go. I have it in my side pocket of my chair. It's Nitro Bid, it's called. I carry it everywhere just in case I'm somewhere and I can't get to a hospital and I have a bad AD episode. I can put that on there. It'll lower your blood pressure and sustain it a little bit to give you some more time to get to somebody who is an expert in emergency care of the sort.
But that's not the fix. That's just really to prolong
not
your ability to get to someone.
No, yeah. You're absolutely correct. Yeah, it's not a fix. It's just something that I use or something that I carry with me in case. I mean, I've had to use it on an airplane before, in which I had an AD episode on an airplane while we were in the air, and so I had to use it.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's no way to get to something.
You
or
can't
get to
just step
somewhere.
out. Yeah.
Right. You can't just go check your balls.
Unless they give you a parachute.
Right.
I would love to see that, though.
That might throw you into even higher AD. You're definitely stroking out for sure on that one.
Yeah,
right?
I suppose.
So yeah, I mean, there are ways that you can go about being smart of the situation. Just having things with you to help you with autonomic dysreflexia episodes, and also with as far as the pressure ulcers and stuff go. You have to be the person. You have to take control of your own, like Eric was saying, you have to take control of your own care. If you don't take the time to do a pressure relief, then it's your fault. You know what I mean? It's not anybody else's fault. It's yours. So
Right. And I think you also have to learn your body.
Sure.
Your body's sending you signals all the time. And that's something we have to figure out as people with disabilities or paralysis. Exactly what does that little tingle in my neck mean? What does that little sweat on my forehead mean? I know I ate 5 burritos yesterday. What does that mean today?
Absolutely, man. You are 100%.
Oh my God.
And we get an idea, what goes in, how much comes out, all that stuff. We kind of weigh that in our mind all the time. And
As you should
that's
be.
really, yeah, absolutely. That's something that, most people don't have to do. We have to keep that in mind.
Oh yeah. No.
And,
I think maybe to round this out, is there anything to that? Oh, I know you're sleeping. Okay, what is your sleeping positioning for either of you? Either of you, whoever wants to start. How do you position yourself in bed in order to be able to have a good night's sleep, but also not have to fully worry too much about getting a pressure sore as you're sleeping?
Personally, I start out on my back and stay that way for a little while. And then during the night, I have a grab bar on the wall next to my bed. So my bed is up against the wall, and I have a grab bar there. And I can get my arm under that and pull enough to turn myself on my side. And I try to sleep on my side as much as possible.
Me too. I sleep on my side.
Yeah.
It's worked for all these years. Again, I haven't had any, knock on wood, major, yeah, there you go, thank you, major skin breakdown, so it seems to work for me.
Yeah, same here. I'll start out on my back, and then I'll lose circulation in my legs. I'll feel that, and then I'll turn on my side, and then I'll lose circulation, and I'll have to turn back on my back. And I got to keep my arms, because my arms are really developed. But the thing I'm realizing as I get older is I'm losing circulation when it's raised above my heart.
By developed, what do you really mean here?
I'm swole.
He's the Hulk.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's not the same guy I'm looking at, but it's okay. That's why I wanted to know what your idea was.
Well, we're not like, we're not like Hulk Hogan or anything, but I do
You
got...
don't got 26-inch pythons?
No, but I do got muscles.
24.
These
24.
are my legs, I use my arms to get everywhere, so...
I'm teasing you, bro.
So I guess if you can't turn yourself, have somebody that can help you during the night, at least a couple times a night. And, if you can't see back there, use a mirror. Or, I've told people, use your cell phone, take a picture.
Yep.
Try not to accidentally post it on Instagram.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
do
right.
that.
No,
Please. Nobody
Oops.
wants to see that.
Yeah.
Nobody.
But,
Don't
that's
put that
one-
in the comments.
It's one way to look
Well,
at
you could send it to
Really?
azspinal.org
/Eric.
/Eric because he does like blackheads.
Maybe that's your commentary on
our
He was talking about butt
man.
pimples
Wow.
earlier. So maybe you might want to see yours. I don't know. I don't know what
Really?
he wants. I
Really?
don't know what he wants.
I'm uncomfortable the direction this is going.
I'm not sure what he likes.
I'm
It's
very
not
uncomfortable.
my thing. You know what I mean? Not up to me. No, for me, I sleep on my side. I use a pillow behind me. I use a long body pillow behind me to help me stay propped on my side, but yet I can still move a little bit. I have a little move room so I can get the pressure off a little bit. I use a pillow between my knees so my knees aren't touching each other. I also put a pillow underneath of the bottom leg that's touching the bed, so that way my ankle is floating. My ankle bone is floating, and then that's part of what I use for my sleeping regimen. Just to make sure that there is no places that are receiving a ton of pressure other than your hip at that point. And then your hip, if you can move a little bit, you can manipulate. Otherwise, then you should be having caregivers. If you're not able to move yourself in bed, you should be having somebody or a caregiver or a friend or a loved one move you every 3 or 4 hours. You should be moved.
I have a couple more suggestions.
Go ahead.
Well, for one, have you guys ever done the pressure mapping?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a way you can go, like maybe outpatient rehab. They put down this, it's like a paper thing over your cushion, and it it shows on a computer screen any hot spots you have. So using that technology, they can figure out what cushion might work best for you. So I suggest people try that if they're having any issues with pressure injuries.
Posture.
Posture, yeah, exactly. The chair, are you sitting right? Are you getting a good pressure release? All that stuff.
So, because like even me and you, we're the same injury, but we sit completely different in our chairs.
Right.
You sit more straight up. I like my hip. Or
Yeah.
My
chair
my
doesn't
hips
tilt
a
like
little
yours
farther
does.
forward.
Yeah.
Because I like to have more stability in my upper half.
You're a
so
little
I
more
sit a little
hippie.
farther forward. Yeah.
You're a little like Shakira.
Yeah, hips don't lie. These hips don't lie over
What
here.
a visual. What a
These
visual.
hips don't lie.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Exactly.
You bring up a real good point. Just because someone may have the same level of disability or same level of injury, I've seen someone who has a similar injury that I have, and they're walking.
Absolutely.
I
know quads that walk too.
Yeah, walking quads. So, just because you have a certain level of injury doesn't make you in this exclusive club.
Right.
And
I think that goes back to what you were saying earlier. If we were going to round this out and try to kind of get it to a close so we can move to these questions. What you were saying earlier is you have to learn. You have to understand your body. Don was saying it. I've said it several times. Understand your body. Understand what triggers you have that make you feel this way, and then also be your own advocate in the fact that you need to move, you need to do all these things, and you have to understand that it's part of your life now.
Yep.
And you have to understand that.
I have two really quick other things to add. So one thing, if you're having a surgery, let them know that you can't lay on your back for an extended period of time, because I know people have gone in for surgery, and while they were laying on the hard table for 3 hours, they developed a pressure injury.
Oh,
so
my goodness, I didn't even
be
think about
cognizant of that. And then lastly, I think be aware that if you're using an air cushion like a Rojo, that elevation changes can change the air pressure in your cushion. Because if we drive from Phoenix up to Flagstaff, which is a change of 5,000 feet in elevation, our air cushions become rock hard. You have to let some air out.
Same thing with flying. When you fly,
yeah, exactly.
Even though they say they're pressurized cabins, they're not necessarily fully pressurized to what it would be at zero or wherever you may be. So after you fly, make sure you always bring a pump with you so you can decrease and increase however you feel necessary to be comfortable and get your cushion back to what it should be.
Another thing, with these Rojos, you actually don't really need a pump. They're low pressure, so if you don't have a pump with you, just like a beach ball, just blow into the valve, and you can get the air pressure just the way you want it. It's all right.
Say it.
Yeah.
Say
He's
it.
got. I know where he's going with that.
I'm gonna leave that one alone too. I'm gonna leave that one. I'm just gonna let that one go past. Go.
All right. Yeah.
Good additions.
Yeah. Thank you.
Don.
All right.
Good additions.
I think we
Don.
covered that topic, and
Yeah. You're out of your element, Donnie. You're out of your element.
you know it.
Anything else before we finish this one out?
Yeah, I have one thing.
Oh,
we were
here we
talking
go.
about it earlier that, a lot of times the worst pressure ulcers are actually developed not at home but in the hospitals. Even if you're going for a short stay, like you're saying, they can develop in an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So, like you guys were saying, you have to be your own advocate, even in the hospital. Don't be afraid to call the nurses in there every 2 hours and say, no, I need to be turned. I understand you have other patients, other stuff going on, but and that's what I see a lot is people say, oh, I didn't want to bother you. I don't want to, I don't want to be a burden. No, you need to be turned. You need to get your care. Don't hesitate to ask, and don't, be on top of it as soon as you know you're going to be in the hospital or in a facility.
As soon as I get in there.
I know you
I'll be
do.
like, listen here, sweetheart. You're going to be seeing me about every 15 minutes.
Sweetheart. That's a way to get on the list.
You're right.
there.
I know.
Hey,
I
honey.
said that's just for you, Tyler. My brother just gets on me for it. I say it just to anger him. I'm that kind of guy, huh?
That's a very good point, though.
So you're
That
going to be
makes-
seeing me every 15 to 30. So get used to this face.
I've had more pleasant thoughts.
You're out of your element, Donnie.
I know. Stay in
Thanks,
your lane.
Nina.
Oh yeah.
By
Good
the
one.
way, that was fantastic. It was
Yeah.
awesome to have an RN's point of view on that, I thought, too.
Heck yeah.
So what time is it?
It's, game time?
Here we
Party
go.
I
time?
think it's Nina time.
It's Nina time. Oh, I forgot about that. It's Nina time. Nina's got
All
some
right.
questions, some submissions. We got 3 questions today. Nina, fire off the first one for us.
Yeah, our first question is from Jason. Jason asks, I live at home with full-time caregivers, so dating is very difficult for me. How can I make this easier?
Oh, I mean, do you two, you want to start? Because this is right up my wheelhouse. This is right in my wheelhouse.
Jump in.
But if you guys want to go ahead first. Because both you guys are freaking married.
I got
So
lucky.
What do you guys
I got
know
lucky.
about anything?
I
guess?
mean, I got lucky. Seriously, it was pure
You've
luck.
been married for 62 years.
Outkicked his coverage.
No, here's I think everything comes down to communication. What was his name again?
Jason.
Jason.
This is from Jason.
Hey, Jason, everything comes down to communication on that situation. You need to communicate effectively with both your caregivers and your family to let them understand that even though you're disabled, you're still a human being, you still have needs, you still want to find love, you still want to date, you still want to do all those things. So they need to learn to be comfortable with that situation. They need to learn to be comfortable with you bringing people home if that's what you do. If you're gonna, if you find a girlfriend, you want to bring somebody in. Also, you need to be able to talk to your caregivers and understand that they need to know you need privacy during certain moments and other times as well. So, for me, it's all about communication on this one. If you have a good relationship with the people that are working for you, I think this could be fairly easy. I think it could make it a little easier for you to communicate with them. What I like to do is I like to tell people that are working for me, because I as well have people working for me 24 hours a day. I like to tell them, hey, why don't you can go and do something for a little while. Just have your phone on. If I need you, I'll call you back. Or you can, if they live close, hey, go ahead and go home for a few hours or of the sort, and I'll call you back. Or if you have a significant other over of the sort, you can tell them those things, and most of the time they'll be very happy to do those things for you and help and give you your privacy.
I do have a point on the dating. Do what you enjoy doing. If you do what you enjoy doing, your best foot is automatically put forward because you're enjoying yourself. If you think you got to go to a bar or a dance club and you don't like to dance or you don't like to be at the bar, wrong place, buddy.
Sure.
Wrong place. But if that's your scene, then by all means, go there, do it. Do what you're comfortable with. Do what you enjoy doing. If you like to go and if you like to get out into nature, well, gosh darn it, find a way to get out into nature. You will find people around you, and you never know. You'll stumble in. That's actually how I found Lourdes. Is I went swimming, and swimming's one of the things I've always loved to do. And she was swimming, and we were actually both having bad days, and we figured
Was
it
she
out.
singing the song "Paper Planes"?
No.
That right there would have been
Sample that.
That would have been
Wait a minute.
nerd. That would have been a nerd.
Oh,
Play opposite.
oh, not that one.
That flew over all
Nerd
3
alert.
of your heads.
Oh, so I should be doing
music,
this one.
Music nerd.
Yeah. Right?
So-
Nerd alert.
Oh, that's the one I got to get
That's
on.
the
Yeah,
one
that's
you
right.
sample that, bud.
Yeah.
So, well, Jason didn't say it, but I think maybe implied in the question is, how do you meet people as far as dating goes? And I think, online dating is kind of the way people are doing it now. It seems that way. So, side question, and this might
It's
be another
difficult.
Yeah,
It's
just-
difficult.
just don't
issue.
I
watch
can hit you with
Catfish.
these answers.
Well, do you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah, go ahead, ask though.
Do you disclose in an ad that you have a disability right
I
up
do.
front?
I do. I online date. I do all that stuff, and I make sure that when I post photos, I post at least 1 or 2 photos that you can definitely 100% see my chair. You would have to be blind not to see it, and not that there's anything wrong with being blind, but what I'm saying is you'd have to be in order not to see that I'm sitting in the chair. So one, that's an easy way to disclose, right? And it's
right.
also an easy way to not have to go down 2-3 weeks of a path and then disclose and then find out the person may not be interested anymore, right?
Isn't that called catfishing?
We're not. I don't think we're trying. I don't think
I'm
he's
sorry.
trying to catfish people.
I'm sorry. I just had to bring that in. I'm sorry.
You
Thanks,
do, even
Eric.
though,
Well, I
by
mean,
the way,
I've
you
s-
do you are the doppelganger of what's his name from Catfish,
No.
the television show. I just now realized that. Right.
No.
You do
Look him
like
up. Look
yeah.
Eric up
Yeah.
because he is
The guy with the beard, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, no, I agree with you. I think, Jason, if you do the online dating, do tactfully let people know that you have disability, but it doesn't define you. You know, it's just
Absolutely.
part of your life. You're a normal dude like everybody else, and
Yep.
you know, straight up front, you know, if this is an issue for you, don't respond to me. But
Now,
no, this is just a minor part of who I am, right?
I have a side comment on that because when I was single, I did do some online dating, and one of the things I was up front, and that whole it's like I attracted people who wanted to be around the victim mentality thing,
Wanted to be your mom.
something like that.
Yeah,
Yes,
take care of you.
or you know they were you know the take care of you types, or so you got to be careful of this sort of stuff because you know it's a whole arena.
That is a very it's a thing of its own.
Yeah.
Actually, online it's a thing of its own where people are. That's what they're into is being in the care like a caregiver for people.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. You don't want to go there. I went there. You don't want to go there. I'll tell you that.
I was just gonna say you need to
Nothing wrong with
expand-
no.
What is it called? Devotees or
Yes,
something? Yeah.
devotees, devotees,
Devotees, yeah.
devotees.
Devotees, whatever.
It's very big in Australia and Canada. It's a huge thing. That's what I noticed. Most of the people that came after me were from Canada, and this all happened to me on Facebook. Actually, I wasn't even looking for it, but
Could you tell because they were all ending their sentence?
no,
with
because they
A?
all they all typed as they were typing. They typed A at the end of it. Yeah, that's what they did.
So how you doing, eh?
So that what is it like a mix of like Dracula in Canada? that
Yeah,
you just did
pretty much.
Dracula in Canada.
All right, Jason, I think we answered his question.
Yeah.
I mean, he's set.
Yeah. Also,
luck.
I think one more thing with your photos, the thing that you brought up, the photos that I have of me in a chair, I try to make those photos of something that what Eric said of something that I'm enjoying doing. Right. Not just sitting in front of your television in your chair. That's your picture, right? Make it something that you enjoy doing, but the chair's also in the picture. But they also see that you're out and about and enjoying your life at the same time. And I think that'll help you out, man. Hopefully we can help you out with that, Jason. And good luck, my friend.
Let us know. Write us back.
Send us more
Yeah,
messages.
Jason, give us
Let
some
know what's
comments.
happening.
We want to be invited to the wedding.
Yep.
I don't.
Oh, well. That figures.
Just kidding, Jason. Just kidding, Jason. We're good. We're good.
All right, next question here, guys. 8 months post injury, wondering is driving independently possible?
Don drives. I drive, but Don, go ahead.
Well, I think in most cases it is, but it depends on your level of injury, your ability to move, and also, if you have blackouts or severe spasticity, those might be issues.
Mm-hmm.
But for most people, the technology is available to drive. One of the things that comes into play is the cost of having an
Absolutely.
accessible vehicle. And if you can get help through maybe a program like vocational rehabilitation, if you're using the vehicle for work, that makes a big difference. If you have to pay out of pocket, the adaptations typically are more costly than the actual vehicle.
Absolutely.
And
I'd like to clarify on the Voc Rehab. I know they won't pay for your vehicle, but they'll pay for the upgrades.
exactly,
for the
yeah.
If that's what's needed for work.
If it's
It's
because-
the same
work-related.
thing with
Yeah.
most insurance companies at this point now. I think that was a court case now, and it's actually set into precedent that they don't have to pay for the actual vehicle. Nobody does. They just pay for modifications of a vehicle that you purchase. So
there are companies that will do driver's evaluation. You get to go take some classes, do a little road testing. They can offer you different types of hand controls and equipment to try, figure out what works best for you, and then you have to have a doctor's prescription to get those hand controls.
also a certain amount of hours on the road with those fellas too.
And they have to
Those
be
ladies or gentlemen, those people. Sorry.
the hand controls have to be installed by a certified hand control specialist. You can't just go to your friend and say, hey, put these in my vehicle. it's not going to work that way. Well,
I got a story about that.
I don't think it. I think you can if you're a para, right? I mean, if you're a high para or something of the sort, you can just don't they have those ones you can buy?
So
yeah,
just
no.
hooks right
that
out?
puts you at legal risk. You could be liable if there's an issue.
An accident. Or
Say there's an accident and the hand controls failed. If they were not installed properly.
Yep.
You're liable. So
your buddy Jim wants to install them. Don't let him do it.
Yeah. So here's my story. I'm up in Flagstaff, Arizona. I'm buying my first Jeep Wrangler, 1995 red Jeep Wrangler, 31-inch tires, off-road, the whole bit. Lifted, everything. I was so excited about it. My other two buddies, they got the same year of Jeep. We had a tan one, a red one, and then we had a green one, and they're awesome. So I just got it. I was so excited, and it was a used dealership, and I said, hey, will you put my equipment on? And they're like, yeah, but we're not liable, and don't tell anyone. And I'm like, okay, fine, great. Took it off the lot. I'm like, okay, my controls weren't working the greatest, and I'm like, oh, I can't stop. And so I managed to stop, and I get to a place, like a little strip mall sort of situation, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's just me. So I practiced a little bit before I left, and then when I left, I was pumping the brakes as hard as I could, and a Jeep doesn't stop over anything. So it crawled over the median.
Oh, no.
Not into traffic, just like there was a brick wall, and it literally crawled over, killed a tree.
Nice.
And went into the brick wall and bent my bumper just a little bit. Now, my friend drove it home. I actually installed it, and I did a great job, by the way. And
you're taking Don's point away,
Yeah.
bud.
I know I am.
Your story's really putting Don in a bad spot here.
The point is, I shouldn't have. I should go through a certified individual to do this.
Can we read those disclaimers one more time?
You're out of your element, Donnie.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a professional, and I wasn't certified, and I shouldn't have done that. However, I did, and I got to tell you, go to a professional for this, okay? Because it's not safe to have someone that doesn't know what they're doing.
Even with professionals doing it, you can still have issues of the sort, and I've had those as well. I've had the non-functioning issues as you're driving as well. It's not fun.
Yeah.
It's definitely not fun. That's something you also have to think about too if you're going to venture down into the driving world, is that you're taking a risk like everybody else who's on the road, and maybe even a little more because of the equipment and the fact that you're using your hands. It's a much different ball game than, say, learning to drive when you were 16 or 15 in a regular car.
But if you can in any way drive, it's a game changer. It is a game changer.
Oh, absolutely.
It gives you so much independence and freedom. I mean, I don't know what I'd do without my vehicle. I drive with hand controls. I think you do too, right, Shawn?
I do. I don't drive much anymore, but I used to drive a lot.
So, I mean, that gives you a lot of freedom. And, I mean, there's nothing like that. As you said, a game changer. Yeah. So
I like having a driver.
Look at way technology has changed.
Okay, Mr. Money.
Lie to you.
Mr. Money.
I like it. I like having a driver.
I mean, think about self-driving cars now that are coming up. We have them all.
I have
around
a self-driving car. Her name's Nina.
Well, why do you prefer having a driver over driving yourself anymore?
I don't. That way, I don't have to worry. So for me, I had a lot of PTSD driving because my accident came from a vehicle. Motor vehicle accident. So for me, it became an issue for me through anxiety and all these other sorts that I was really fighting that every time I was going somewhere. So, for me, independence towards having somebody do that and not having as much of the anxiety and all the stuff. So I still do drive certain places, certain times, just not as much. I kind of like feeling like, like the President of the United States or something, you know what I mean? Like I got somebody driving me. This is nice.
Again, it's personal preference. There you go.
I could take a nap in the car if I want to.
Who asked that question?
All right. That was no name. That was anonymous.
Oh, no, okay.
Yeah.
Well, no name.
So, and then this last one here, hey, listen to the first episode and I loved it. Are you planning on having any guest speakers or any other people to tell their stories anytime soon?
That's Don's alley. Now we're in your element, Don. That's your that's your job.
Well, we all know people with disabilities, and every one of us has a great story or stories. We need to bring people in just to tell those things, and we could have a lot of fun with that.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't even scraped the surface of the stories that all three of us have.
Man.
I mean, good Lord. I mean, we
haven't
much
scraped
going.
the surface of this podcast yet, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
potential on what we're going to do with it.
Even our own stories. I mean, we haven't delved too deeply into that.
Mhm.
But
And I think we're going to be doing that. I think sooner or later, Donnie's going to jump into his element, and he's going to start bringing some guests.
yeah.
I mean, we give Don one job. That's the job, and as you can tell, we don't have any guests yet. So.
Well, I have, and I do have some people that I've talked to as well. So I have a consultant for Social Security. I have someone I want to bring in. I want to try to bring in that will talk about voc rehab.
Aren't we supposed to get hypnotized too, Don?
I need to
let's
make
do
that
that.
happen.
That
That's
was
got to
on me.
happen.
Hypnotist. I want to do that.
Nina
Although
already
I'm
said
not sure
that
how
she's
that'll
gonna.
work on radio. Or
I don't know.
podcast.
Why not? We could just put a mic on there and let them hypnotize everybody. I
Yeah,
guess. I
yeah,
don't
let's
know.
do this. Yeah, we'll have to make a disclaimer. Don't listen to this while you're driving.
Yeah, that's a good one.
No
too.
heavy machinery. Don't be driving.
Yeah.
Make sure you're in a safe spot before you listen to this episode.
Yeah.
So basically, if you know us, be prepared because we're going to come tapping on you and get you on this show.
I'm with it. I like
Yeah.
it. I think the more people we can get on here, the better. The more stories, the more beneficial to everybody else in the community, and that's what we're here for, right, fellas?
Yep. And I'm talking. I'm talking to everyone.
People.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
people. I keep saying
So-
fellas, and I forget. Nina's here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and hopefully we will be getting some more estrogen on the show
Well played.
at some point.
He's grunting over there. He's a caveman.
Well, I mean, isn't the term "dude" universal now? I mean, I thought I
Is
read.
it?
Yeah, I thought "dude" was actually a
Can you say
universal
dude
term
for
now.
anybody?
I think
I
they
didn't
say
think people even like to be called dude. I don't like to be called dude. Hey, dude. No, I'm not dude.
I'm going to call you dude.
I mean, unless you're doing it in brevity for El Duderino or the Duder,
The duder,
Good dude.
right?
the dude meister.
I mean, there's only one dude.
Yeah,
and that's
that's
the
true.
Big Lebowski.
Yeah,
So
he
for me-
abides.
I'm the dude.
For me, I appreciate you didn't call me dude when you send me messages. Thank you very much.
I'm going to call you the dude. I'm sorry. That's going to happen. Now.
So yeah, guests, we're gonna have them. We definitely are gonna have them. We're gonna
Be
bring them in.
prepared.
Once Don gets into his element, we'll get some.
I can get someone for next taping.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. All right.
So we'll have somebody in right there. We go. For whoever asked the question, thank you. You got Don to get us a guest. For
That was a
next
brilliant
episode.
question, by the way.
It was a brilliant question.
Now, guys, just so you know, we have 4 mics, so I'll probably step out and be the technical assistant for that show.
Or Nina or me or
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
or
we'll
any
figure
of
it
us.
out. But I mean, I'm
We'll
just
figure
letting you know
something
that we're going to figure it out. We're going to have fun with this.
Yeah, we'll have people in tell their stories. If there's people that you want to nominate and or people that you think, or even yourself, if you think you wanted to come on the show and talk about, and you have something good to talk about and want to, enlighten everybody with your story, hit us up on YouTube or on azspinal.org or on Spotify.
Yeah.
all
YouTube's
those
probably
places.
going to be the best place, or Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah.
I'll be posting all of these on Facebook too. And
The other
so
thing
on here.
is, worst comes to worst, we can actually take a call with this setup.
Perfect.
So we can actually have someone call in and talk to us.
Perfect. And
That
we can
would be
get
the
medical
worst.
professionals.
Yeah.
We can get some medical professionals in here, then we can just take that first, one of those disclaimers out of there.
Right?
Yeah, no, but I think we definitely will, and I look forward to all that. I look forward to asking some questions and learning myself as well.
Yeah, that sounds great.
What else we
Let's do
got?
it.
We got anything else? I know we're hitting right around the 45 minutes or somewhere past that at this point, so that's where we like to try to keep it for everybody. If you guys have anything, parting words?
Hey, keep going, everyone. Just keep going. Make it work.
Yeah, it's been a slice. Had a great time again tonight.
Well,
And
for
let's
sure.
do it. Let's do it 2 weeks from now. Everybody check it out.
Every
Leave your-
2 weeks, Podriplegics podcast. SDH Shawn Dallas Hall, Mr. Eric Kenning, Mrs. Nina. You probably don't want your last name out there. I'm sure you don't. As I wouldn't want it out there if I was you. And Mr. Don Price. For all of us, we appreciate you listening. Please hit subscribe. Please hit like. Please leave a comment. I'm out. Peace.